Hello, it's John Heaton. Today I'm going to celebrate George Harrison's Living in the Material World's 50th anniversary edition. I know I said recently on one of my videos I was trying to stop buying vinyl, but when I went to the shop, the local shop the other day, and I saw 4 copies of the new album, 2 regular copies and 2 double vinyl, plus 2 double CDs and 2 versions of the single CD, I just thought, well, Christmas has come early and I couldn't resist it. I haven't actually opened the double vinyl because it's a thing of beauty, and I'm not sure if I'm going to open it or not. Might keep it in mint condition, but I did pick up the CD because I obviously wanted to listen to the material, and the CD is actually, I think it mirrors what's inside the vinyl, so I know exactly what's there. So I'll take you what's inside the CD, double CD, not too cheap. The vinyl was actually better value, I thought. First CD is the regular album coming in this sleeve here. Second CD comes in, which is the outtakes, with the colour version of the gatefold picture. And then you've got a nice booklet here with various pictures from the album sessions and other pictures from George at the time, with the Hare Krishna thing on the front, from the front cover, and then the 2 quarters and a silver dollar on the back from the back cover. A little bit of information on the Material World Foundation, which George Harrison set up in 1973, named after the title song of this album. And then this is very nice poster, double-sided poster no less, or mini poster in the CD. The vinyl presumably comes with the bigger version. So this is very nice to have. And the famous picture of George with the hand on the back, with some more information, some quotes to do with the material world and George's view on it. What I was actually struck by is that this package, other than the fact it contains obviously a second disc of outtakes, is very similar to the 2006 in terms of, if you compare the box, this one's marginally bigger. And this one actually contains a DVD, which is, and also I think a little bit more care has been put into the packaging of the 2006. If you look at these, the inside of the CD box, and there's as I say, there's a booklet here, and there's a DVD with, for example, the alternative version of Miss O'Dell, Without the Laughing. And for some reason that's missing from here, which is a bit disappointing. But I suppose since I have both of them, it doesn't matter too much. And the main point of this edition is the outtakes, which were sort of glaring by their omission on previous releases of the CD and the vinyl. So it's good that they've caught up finally, and that obviously this one being a single album, the double CD was when you get all the material on the double CD, so you don't need to fork out for the box set unless you want to get Sail Away Raymond, Sunshine Life for Me. I think that's the only extra track you get on the box set. But the double CD has all the material, and it's quite reasonably priced. Whereas if you wanted all the material from All Things Must Pass, I think the box set was pretty pricey. Anyway, so I walked into the shop, couldn't resist it. And the thumbnail of this video is actually a picture from the Media Markt shop with, and I slightly rearranged the way the records look so that George Harrison's new album, so-called, is dominating the scene. And I was trying to recreate what the record shop would have looked like, I guess, in 1973, when this was indeed a #1 album and highly anticipated. I've just been looking at some reviews, not on YouTube yet, but checking out some written reviews, and there's a couple of nice ones. Rolling Stone, I couldn't read it because it's behind a firewall, I'm not a subscriber, but that I noticed they gave it a nice review. Clash Music, a positive review, and one negative review from a channel called, or a website called Brutally Honest Rock Album Reviews, which was a highly annoying review, sort of saying endlessly about Material World as a come down from All Things Must Pass for this reason and that reason and the other reason. And the guy writing the review, or the girl, repeats himself several times, making the same point. And actually, but there's one pertinent moment in the review when he says, there's way more filler on Material World, unless you count the Apple Jam disc from All Things Must Pass. I tried to pretend it doesn't exist. Well, here's news for you, it does exist, and that album should be reviewed and compared to this one as a triple versus this one as a single, because it was priced as such. But anyway, that's a never-ending discussion which I have with my friend Marcus Elwes, who's firmly in the All Things Must Pass camp, and I keep annoying him by saying that this album is every bit as good. But if you compare the songs, I think this really, I know there's some gems on All Things Must Pass, but there's some absolute gems on here, and I think the production is more intimate on here, on this album. He's kind of learnt a few tricks from Phil Spector, but it's not kind of overbearing, and the echo is not so pronounced. And I like that. And there's more guitar from George on this album. He's actually, interestingly, the only guitarist featured on the album, or at least credited. There's no Jesse Ed Davis here, for example. Whereas on All Things Must Pass, he had Eric Clapton and Dave Mason and Badfinger helping him out on guitar. So I think this one has more slide guitar work from George, which works to its benefit. Nicky Hopkins is also on this album, supplying superb keyboards, and I don't think he was on All Things Must Pass. I think it was more Gary Wright on his own doing the keyboards with Billy Preston. And what's good about this album is it's the same band more or less throughout, the same lineup, so they get more of a sense of consistency, whereas on All Things Must Pass you had, Alan White drumming, Jim Gordon, Ringo, 3 drummers, and, multiple keyboardists and multiple guitarists, whereas on here, it's pretty much Klaus on bass, Nicky Hopkins, Gary Wright on keyboards, Jim Keltner on drums, joined by Ringo on 3 tracks. This is quite annoying because the sleeve notes of the CD they actually mention in the text that Ringo drums on 3 of the tracks, but rather frustratingly, they don't tell you which ones. But then if you read on, they say that Jim Keltner and Ringo do a duet on Don't Let Me Wait Too Long, so we can presume that's one of them. And I'm pretty sure that's Ringo doing those fills. Though we started off quite poor, we got Richie on a tour, and then the fill, I'm pretty sure that's Ringo on the title track, which leaves the 3rd one. So any ideas out there? If you know, leave a comment in the, because I was trying to figure out, is it The Lord Loves the One? Because a lot of the ballads don't really need 2 drummers, so it's quite annoying that this CD liner notes don't give you details of who plays what on each track. I don't know if the information is not available, or they just didn't choose to include that information, but that's a slight criticism. Also, the CD booklet and the whole packaging of this double CD does not include the lyrics. Now, I know I've got multiple copies of this album, so I have the lyrics multiple times, but that's not the point. If someone's new to this album, picking it up for the first time, then wouldn't it be nice for them to have the lyrics, having forked out a fair amount of money for this? Perhaps it's on the vinyl edition, because I haven't opened it, I don't know. But I just thought that was strange, because the lyrics are included in the 2006 delightful box. And the other difference in 2006 is the hand has been kind of textured here. There's been more sort of care put into the hand. Whereas on here, I think it's just a straight picture. And then I'll just show you I think it was a European-only vinyl pressing of the 2006, where, again, you've got the textured hand, and then you've got George Harrison in sort of bolder type there, which I thought was, if you compare that to the George Harrison here, it's different. And so I thought that was interesting. So I am now up to 8 copies of this album on vinyl and 2 on CD. So that's not bad. I know I said I was going to stop buying vinyl, but anyway. So yeah, I really like the intimate atmosphere of this album because it's the same band of musicians and they were playing in the cozy Apple studio, which had very nice lighting apparently, and incense was burning, and they managed to get a good atmos. So that was good because they were comparing in the sleeve notes. They're comparing the setup in '72 or late '72 when they recorded at Apple for this album versus when the Beatles recorded for Get Back, which turned into Let It Be. They were using borrowed equipment from EMI Abbey Road for those sessions, but by the time George recorded here in '72, the studio was a state-of-the-art place to record, although it was relatively underused in terms of, I can't think of too many albums which were recorded there, which is, compared to, say, Trident Studios in Soho, where you had loads of famous albums recorded. Let's talk about the lyrics a bit. A lot of people say it's preachy and George was acting holier than thou, and he actually covered this point in an interview he gave by saying, well, I don't exclude myself when I sing these lyrics. A lot of the time I'm singing to remind myself. So I think I would probably give the benefit of the doubt to George that they're not preachy, the lyrics. They do come across as a bit preachy, and there's an unfortunate lyric on The Lord Loves the One, which is a bit of an awkward title to begin with. There's a line saying, the Lord helps those who help themselves. Now I'm sure George meant people who help themselves in terms of try and better themselves as human beings, but unfortunately in English, those who help themselves also has a meaning that they just take all the money. So I think that's a bit an unfortunate lyric. But other than that, I really like the lyrics. They're really devotional, they're very personal, and I don't find them preachy. I find them very endearing and very passionately sung and tenderly sung. So let's go over. Well, before we get to the outtakes, I want to cover Sue You, Sue Me, Sue You Blues, which is perhaps a little bit incongruous compared to the religious, spiritual stuff on the rest of the album. But I find it an amusing song, and I really think the words are quite clever. Bring your lawyer and I'll bring mine. Get together and we could have a bad time. And later on, I think when he did the song on tour, he said, bring your lawyer and I'll bring Klein, which I thought was quite a nice joke. But anyway, I like the version on this album. He did give the song to Jesse Ed Davis, who recorded a version in '72 on a solo album of his, and it's vastly inferior to George's version. So this annoying review, Brutally Honest Rock Album Reviews, was saying it's a terrible song and not pleasant to listen to. And I know Thomas Calden was saying you don't enjoy this song because of the lyric subject matter, but I think it's interesting, and he's reflecting that in the material world, even though you're into the spiritual side of things, it does have its negative side in terms of having to deal with going to court and fighting Paul to dissolve the Beatles' partnership. That was very unpleasant and very sort of material part of George's life at the time. So it's only right to reflect that, I think. What else have we got to say? So, yeah, Tony Tyler famously said, it's so goddamn holy I could scream, which I think is quite an amusing line from his review, but I don't agree. But on the outtakes, well, it's delightful because there's a mixture. It's not all stripped down. I was thinking, are they going to just go with acoustic versions of every track? Well, they've gone with a mixture. You've got Give Me Love, which is virtually an acoustic version. The Day the World Gets Round and Don't Let Me Wait Too Long, they're all sort of pretty much acoustic versions with not too much instrumentation. I think there's a piano in Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. But then other songs like Try Some Buy Some is a full alternative version, and it's very interesting because it's pretty much devoid of the strings, but it's got the kind of Phil Spector production. And it's also got George playing some slide guitar, which he obviously decided against for the finished version. So it was very interesting to hear, probably the most interesting outtake of all. And Material World it's just lovely to hear these songs in kind of semi-finished form. And in the case of Who Can See It, the outtake is take 93. So God only knows what take finished up on the album. I mean, and that is all is take 24. I mean, you think, I think, but in both cases that it was getting pretty close to the finished version. But I think I'm glad they've gone with that approach rather than gone for a completely stripped down version. They've also included some early takes of some of the numbers. Sue Me, Sue You Blues is take 5. Lord That Loves the One is take 3. Be Here Now is very effective in both the outtake and the remaster. So I'll talk a bit about the remix. I think John Barham's strings are just absolutely gorgeous, and it's really brought out on the mix. This is a beautiful mix by Paul Hicks, remix. You can really hear the drums clearly, particularly on the title track and The Lord Loves the One. I think Don't Let Me Wait Too Long, of those three, which may well be the three that Ringo's drumming on, but either way, I think the drums, James Griffiths was saying he finds the drums a bit muddy on the original. Well, I've always loved the production of this album, so I'll have to go back and revisit the original to see how much I agree with that. Dave Costello, my mate, had an interesting observation that The Lord Loves the One used to be his least favourite, but on this remix sounds like it's something from 33 1/3, which I thought was quite a good remark as well. I think it really does come to life, this song, and the drums are superbly remixed, and the strings are just right in the room with you, as is George's, what I can only describe as sort of liquid guitar lines. Absolutely beautiful. The solo on The Lord Loves the One was always a standout, but it's even more sublime on this remix. So I think they've done a really good job, and I'm not saying the 2006 version, this one was I don't think this was a remix, actually, it was just a remaster. But anyway, it's always sounded good to me, even the day that I bought it from Harrods on cassette back in '79, and I got it back and played it on my parents' stereo. It sounded great then. And Try Some, Buy Some, which not everyone likes. David Bowie covered it on his album Reality. And I love Phil Spector's strings, and I love Jim Gordon's drumming. I think it's absolutely sensational. So yeah, I think that my greatest sort of takeaway from this album, I think, is I'll agree with Dave Costello. The Lord Loves the One is a revelation, and the title track, Living in Material World, an absolute powerhouse performance from the band. And you can really hear there's two drummers on that track. And it's just a stupendous track, very catchy, and the lovely spiritual bit in the middle. And obviously the light that has lighted the world is sounding as gorgeous as ever, and the outtake is brilliant. So I've said a few good things about this because that's the way I feel. I just have the music book as well to show you. And I was noticing some of the songs when they're giving you the instructions on how to play the songs. In the guitar version they say play very slow, and in the piano version they say play moderate, so it's a little bit weird, I noticed that. But anyway, it's a nice thing to have this, and it comes with the poster, which I've never taken out of the book. I mean, the book's not in great shape, but it at least contains the poster. So I've got a nice little collection of Material World goodies here on vinyl, CD, music, lyrics, book, and just one more show of the double vinyl. That's a real thing of beauty. I think you'll agree. So thank you for watching. See you next time.